Why Merlin was the original dark wizard. When you think of the most powerful wizards in history, what do you picture? Probably wise old men with long white beards, right? Guiding heroes on their quests. You think of Merlin, the mentor to King Arthur, the ultimate symbol of good and justice. I mean, his name is used as a common exclamation. Merlin's beard! That's a phrase of surprise and wonder, not fear. He's immortalized on chocolate frog cards as the most famous wizard of all time, and the wizarding world's highest honor, the Order of Merlin, was literally created to celebrate his legacy. But what if I told you that before Voldemort, there was a wizard who was literally born to be the Antichrist, a man whose power came from a demonic father and whose use of that magic was, well, anything but heroic. And this is the story of how the wizarding world's greatest hero was actually its original dark wizard. And this isn't some simple good versus evil fairy tale. The original story of Merlin is a complex tragedy. It's a tale of a man born of darkness who walks a razor's edge between being a savior and a manipulator, a prophet and a monster. The heroic wizard you think you know is a modern invention, a sanitized hero made for children's stories. The original Merlin was something far more terrifying and infinitely more interesting. To really understand the darkness in Merlin, we have to go all the way back to his conception, to the tales written by chroniclers like Geoffrey of Monmouth in the 12th century, and later expanded on by poets like Robert de Boron. This isn't the story of some gifted kid from a long line of wizards. No, Merlin's traditional origin story casts him as a cambion, the offspring of a human mother and a demonic father. In most versions, his mother is a virtuous young woman, sometimes even a nun, who is assaulted by an incubus, a demon that preys on women in their sleep. This unholy union was no accident. In some of the most influential versions of the legend, Merlin's birth was a deliberate plot hatched in hell. Furious that Christ had harrowed hell, a group of demons conspired to create their own son on earth, an antichrist who would use demonic powers to undo all of God's work. Merlin was engineered to be that weapon. He was born with the ability to speak at birth and possessed a terrifying, innate knowledge of the past and present, all gifts from his demonic father. The whole plan was only thwarted because his terrified mother confessed everything to a priest who had the child baptized the very moment he was born. That single act saved Merlin's soul, cleansing him of his father's evil purpose and freeing him from Satan's direct control. But it didn't erase his nature. The baptism gave him a divine gift of prophecy, the ability to see the future, but he kept the dark, supernatural knowledge and powers from his father. So he became this walking paradox, a being of demonic blood now tasked to serve the forces of good. He was a weapon designed for evil, repurposed for good, but he was still a weapon. And that darkness from his origin, it never truly left him. So Merlin's demonic heritage didn't just give him power, it completely shaped how he used it. While later stories paint him as this wise and gentle advisor, the original legends show a master manipulator, a puppet master pulling the strings of kings and kingdoms just to make his prophecies come true, no matter the moral cost. His methods were pragmatic and often blurred the line between wisdom and just outright deception. The most infamous example, the conception of King Arthur himself. King Uther Pendragon was consumed by an obsessive lust for Igraine, the beautiful wife of his most loyal ally, Duke Gorlois of Cornwall. When Igraine rejected the king's advances, Uther was ready to plunge the entire kingdom into a civil war just to have her. And who was right there to help him? Merlin. Not to counsel peace or restraint, but to enable the king's lust with dark magic. Merlin cooked up a plan. He used his magic to create a powerful illusion, disguising Uther Pendragon to look exactly like Duke Gorlois. While the real Gorlois was off fighting the king's battles, Merlin led the disguised Uther into Tintagel Castle and right into Igraine's bed. Believing it was her husband, Igraine was deceived, and that night, Arthur was conceived through an act of magically assisted rape. In a moment of cruel, tragic timing, her actual husband, Gorlois, was killed in battle against Uther's troops right around that same time. Think about that. Merlin engineered a kingdom born from deception, lust, and bloodshed. He did it all for what he saw as the greater good, the birth of a prophesied king. But the very foundation of Camelot was built on a terrible crime. This wasn't a one-off thing either. Merlin's magic was constantly used to bend people to his will. In some of the most famous tellings, he's the one who moved the giant stones of Stonehenge with his power and orchestrated the test of the sword in the stone, another manipulation designed to install his chosen king. He was the architect of Arthur's destiny. Yes, but he built it using a blueprint of moral ambiguity, where the ends always justified the means. A man born of a demon who uses dark magic to manipulate the entire world, you'd think his end would come in some blaze of glory or a final epic battle, right? But Merlin's end is far more pathetic and deeply ironic. For all his knowledge of the past, present, and future, he was ultimately undone by his own very human weakness and his own magic. As he grew older, Merlin became utterly infatuated with a young enchantress, known sometimes as Nimue or other times as Vivian. He was so obsessed with her that he followed her everywhere, relentlessly teaching her all of his magical secrets and spells, desperately trying to win her love. But his affection wasn't returned. The legends give different reasons for what she did next. Some say she grew to fear him and his unwanted advances, recognizing his demonic and lecherous side. Others claim she was just ambitious and saw a chance to seize power for herself. Whatever the motive, the result was the same. Nimue used the very spells Merlin had taught her against him. She trapped him for all eternity. Some stories say she sealed him in a crystal cave. Others say it was within an enchanted tree or under a great stone. He, the most powerful wizard in the world, who could literally see his own doom coming but was helpless to stop it, was imprisoned forever by his own student, using his own magic. His voice could sometimes be heard, but he was gone from the world, a victim of his own obsession and hubris. And in a final telling twist after she imprisoned him, Nimue took his place as King Arthur's new magical advisor. The master was replaced by the student, and the world just moved on without him. So how did this dark, morally grey figure, this Cambion Antichrist, this master manipulator who meets such a pathetic end, become the heroic symbol we know today? How did he end up on chocolate frog cards and lend his name to the wizarding world's most prestigious award? The answer is basically a centuries-long rebranding campaign, a great whitewashing of history that is especially obvious in the world of Harry Potter. In the Harry Potter universe, Merlin isn't just a hero, he's a paragon of wizardry. He was sorted into Slytherin at Hogwarts, yet he's remembered as a champion for Muggle rights who fought against the pure-blood supremacy that his own house later became famous for. This presents a very neat, tidy narrative, right? Merlin is proof that a Slytherin's ambition and cunning can be used for good, but this completely ignores the source of that cunning. It sanitizes him. The Harry Potter version of Merlin conveniently leaves out the demonic parentage, the engineered Antichrist prophecy, and the deeply disturbing manipulation that defined his actions in the original legends. There's no mention of him being the son of a demon, a fact that would surely be a little controversial in a world that fears werewolves and giants. The story of Arthur's conception via magical deception is nowhere to be found. The dark, complex, and often tragic figure from medieval literature has been flattened into a simple, aspirational hero. He's been made safe. This transformation serves a purpose. It creates a simple icon of good, a historical figure for young wizards and witches to look up to. But in doing so, it erases the far more compelling story of a man wrestling with a terrifying heritage, a wizard whose every good deed was shadowed by the potential for great evil. The real Merlin wasn't a simple hero, he was the original dark wizard, whose legacy is a cautionary tale about power, manipulation, and the fine line between light and dark. The legends and myths we think we know so well often hide darker, more complicated truths. The story of Merlin is just one example of a hero whose original tale has been all but forgotten. If you know of another hero with a surprisingly dark origin story, let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed uncovering this hidden history, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more dives into the true stories behind our favorite legends. The Merlin of legend is so much more than the wise, twinkly-eyed mentor of modern fiction. He's a tragic figure, born from a demonic plot to create an antichrist, who then spent his life wielding hell-born power for the cause of good. He was a savior who relied on deception, a prophet who was blinded by his own obsession, and a master of magic who was ultimately imprisoned by his own spells. The story we're told today of the heroic founder of the Order of Merlin is a pale shadow of the original. It's a comfortable lie that papers over a much more disturbing and fascinating truth. The original Merlin forces us to ask uncomfortable questions about good and evil, and whether noble ends can ever justify demonic means. Before there was Voldemort, before any of the dark wizards of modern fantasy, there was Merlin, the son of a demon, the intended Antichrist, and the true, original, dark wizard of our oldest legends. And his real story is one you won't ever forget.